Hi, today I would like to talk about the genius of Sir Paul McCartney, and specifically the song The Fool on the Hill. There's a lot of his songs that are awesome. This one, the reason I would like to talk about it is because for jazz piano players, this is a great song to improvise over for many reasons. But let's start with what's happening in the song. Simply, it's in the key of D, and it starts with a D6 chord. D, F sharp, A, and B, with a D in the bass, and then it goes. The next chord is an E minor 7 or G6 over the top of that same D bass. So we basically have a pedal tone going on. And the E minor 7 or G6 is made up of the notes E, G, B, and D. Now the inversions, when you first listen to the song, you'll hear so the F sharp is on the top of the D6 chord, and then it goes to the G6 chord or the E minor 7 chord. And it starts with the G on the top of that chord, and then it goes back to that D6 chord, and now the A is on the top of that voicing. And it walks up the scale, and it goes to an E minor 7 or G6 chord with a B on the top of that, and walks up to the E. So we have the then we release that pedal point and go into an E minor 7, A7, D6, B minor 7, E minor, A7 or A13, and then D minor, G minor, D minor, G minor 7, C7, and a D minor 9, or D minor 7 with a ninth, back to the D6. So what's happening here is we get a certain amount of tension when it goes to that the place without the pedal point. When it releases into that, we go. Now the tension releases when you get to this. And then we suddenly go minor. Like a 2-5 to an F, but instead of going to the F, we go to the D minor 9, which actually includes an F major 7 in its voicing. And then we resolve to the D major 6 chord. So we go from that D minor 7 with the ninth. So let's talk about the voicings on the E minor 7. Basically, just if you know your E minor 7, E, G, B, D, and it goes to an A7, and the 13th is in the melody. So we have, I'm playing right this second is just an A in the left hand, and sometimes I add the E, I don't know. But the right hand playing the 7th here, G, the 3rd, C sharp, and the 13th up here, F sharp. And now we go to a D6 with D in the melody. Same D6 we played in the beginning with D, F sharp, A, B. Now we change the bass note to B, and we actually have a B minor 7 chord, which is actually what happens there. D6 and B minor 7 are the same notes. So when he goes to D6, it's really the same chord. Goes back to the E minor 7, A7 or A13. Now here's where the really cool change is, because he changes from this D major sound to D minor. Just a simple, you can voice it D, F, A, D, and then a simple G minor chord, G, D, G, B flat, D, back to the D minor. Now it seems to want to go to a G minor 7. So you can add the F into your G minor voicing to get the 7th. So you need a G, a D, an F, and a B flat to make your voicing there. And then we go to a C7. So it seems like a 2-5 going into the key of F major. So you got G7 to C, or G minor 7 to C7, and here's your C7 is C, E, G, B flat, C. Sometimes I add octaves underneath just because it gives more sound to the chord. And now, if we just get rid of the root note, we actually are going to an F major 7, but if we add the D underneath, we seem to be back into that D pedal sort of thing. And it goes the F major 7 over the top of the D pedal to the D6 over the top of the D pedal. Now the F major 7 over the top of the D pedal is really a D minor 7 with a 9th in it. It's just a chord with a lot of notes in it. Now, why am I saying this is a great song for jazz players to play? Because that tension and release in between the sections. We have the section that is just the pedal point. And then it changes. Changes from minor to major, major to minor, those changes actually give you a lot of chances to like stretch out with your ideas. As far as I'm concerned, it gives you a lot of chances to do that. One of the things when you're playing the pedal part up front, when you play the D6 chord, you can actually add little, just the basic bluesy sort of things that you would add. So on the D6 chord, you can add that flatted third into the third, and the half step in between 5 and 6, and do the same thing on the G6. So that's something you can do during that pedal point. And you can use your walking bass line once you get to the E minor A7 D, the 2 5 6 2 5 1 6 2, yeah, that part. gets to the D minor, G minor section, there's so much you can do with the song. So basically, I just wanted to make a very quick video on that particular song and what you can, fool around with it. It's a great song if you want something to play that isn't. So as a jazz piano player, what I'm trying to say is, as a jazz piano player, some of the songs that we play are songs from the 1930s and the 1920s, and most of our audience was not alive when those songs were popular, but a lot of our audience that we might play a jazz gig for was probably alive when the Beatles put out that particular song. So that's just something to add to your repertoire if you like Paul McCartney. And I might do some other videos on some other Paul McCartney songs or John Lennon songs in the future. Maybe a way to approach them in a sort of a jazz way. And obviously, if you're a great jazz piano player and you didn't think of this before, you probably have a million ideas of what you can do with it immediately. So that's just my way of showing the simple way you can approach a song like Fool on the Hill. And I hope you enjoy fooling around with that particular song. And thanks for watching.